Hello everybody, today I'm here to review A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. This story is about Connor, who is a young boy. He is 13 years old and he has, at the start of the story, woken up from a reoccurring nightmare that just terrifies him. And he looks outside his window at the graveyard, and more specifically at the yew tree located in that graveyard. And what he sees terrifies him. You see, this monster actually climbs out of the tree and starts walking towards Connor's house. And when the monster gets to his window and calls Connor, Connor says very smartly that he is not afraid of the monster, that he has had worse. And that kind of puts the monster on a mean streak a little bit, where he then explains to Connor that he is going to visit him 3 times, and he is going to tell him a story each time he visits him. The 4th and final time, I do believe, that the monster visits Connor, it is Connor's turn to tell the monster a tale. And basically, that is what this entire story is about. But the other half of it, the more realistic side of it, is actually Connor dealing with being bullied at school and being singled out by the fact that his mother is dying from cancer. And she is currently having chemotherapy, and it's not the best. If you guys have ever seen somebody who has had chemo, then you will know what I am talking about. They just kind of start to deteriorate. This is hard on Connor, but the thing is, he has tons of things that he's having to deal with, and all of a sudden he has this monster that only he sees, only he knows about, and he has to deal with that. Now, at first, I was a little scared by this writing and the artwork because of the fact that it's very grotesque. It's not like a pretty monster, and it does give you that scare feel at the beginning. But the further into the story you get, the more natural it seems. It doesn't feel like you're talking to a monster. It just feels like you're talking to another character. And I really enjoyed that. I know that I said talking, but I should say read. But it just feels like when you read a story, you are talking to the characters. Somehow they're telling their story to you and you're listening. So it's kind of a conversation in a way. I actually thought this was really interesting, and I think this might be, besides the Chronicles of Narnia, the first magical realism that I have picked up in a very long time, because this is the real world. This is a very contemporary novel, but it's got this magical realism with this monster. I was not actually wowed by this story. I was very intrigued by it, and I was interested in the outcome, and I think it was interesting the way that the story was done. I think it was very interesting for me to read because I have watched relatives who have died from cancer. I have watched friends of the family who have cancer and are currently having chemo. So it's something that's very close to me. It's one that helps you know that you're not alone, that you don't have to be invisible. And I thought that the actual 3 stories the monster told were very interesting because in a way, I was reading it, and I'd be like, I know what the outcome of this story is going to be, and then it completely switched in the opposite direction that I was expecting. And I was the same as the main character, Connor. I was going, what? Why would you do that? Why? Like, I know there has to be something in here, but right now my mind is freaking out. Basically, though, I really enjoyed this. I thought it was interesting, the fact that the monster always visits at 12:07, and that's actually a very big part of the story. You don't even realize it until the end of the story. I think that the way that we perceive the characters was very interesting because at the start you are terrified of this monster. You're kind of freaked out by it. And then the more you read along, the more you take on the perspective of Connor as to this is just normal. It's not weird at all. Yeah, it is weird, but I kind of have gotten used to it. It's just become the norm. And you really see your perspective changing of these characters. and I really enjoyed that. Yes, I did enjoy A Monster Calls. I don't know if I would necessarily pick it up and read it again. So this is one that I would probably recommend. If you guys are interested in this story, then pick it up and see if it's for you. It's probably not going to be one for everyone, especially if you haven't actually lost someone from cancer or you're not currently losing someone from cancer. I think it makes a more impactful message to the reader if they have gone through that. I'm not saying that to be cruel or anything, but I think you understand Connor's character and Connor's anger. I think that's very good to have as a reader. So overall, I thought that this book was very well designed, and I thought that the layout of the story was very well done as well, and I look forward to reading more by Patrick Ness. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of A Monster Calls or Patrick Ness's writing, and I will see you in my next video. Until then, go and pick up a random book and read. Bye, guys. I actually just came back to film something else that I forgot to include in this review, and it's one picture from the actual story. It's closer to the end of the book, but I'm not trying to spoil anything, so if you guys don't want to see it, you don't have to, but I feel like this picture was just so powerful that I wanted to share it with you guys so you could see what the picture was in the entire book that literally made me jaw drop. Okay guys, that was the one picture out of the entire story. There were numerous ones that were really beautiful to me, but that one literally gave me shivers when I first saw it. So I thought I would share that with you. Bye guys.